This is Chris from Deus Ex Machina, and I'm with
Dave from Rampant Wolf Games.
and we are here talking about the top 5.
Top 5 video games that need a board game or need a better board game.
All right, so with this for me, I will be 100% honest and say none of mine have a board game. Like, there's no board
One
game.
of mine does.
Okay, so this war of mine's on the list. Gotcha. When I was looking at it, I was going over my Steam list.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised at the number of games on my Steam list which are out in board games in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could do a list of just the games that have come out, where like, please not do it that way. Like, for example, BioShock. The board game. Yeah, BioShock's board game, I have it. It's not a bad game, but boy, does it not capture the video game at all. Like, in the video game, it's a first-person shooter when you're playing as this guy named DeWitt who's trying to rescue Elizabeth, and in the board game, you're playing as factions in the floating city while those two characters are doing things. So you're playing as these factions that are trying to wrest control of the city, and the two characters in the game are NPCs that bounce around independently. It's such a weird game. Like, really? That's what you wanted? And I was surprised looking at my list going, I forgot, this is a board game. Oh, what about this? Oh, this is a board game. I'm like,
yeah, because I mean...
Really? I feel like I was surprised. I would say about 20% of the video games on my list have a board game in some capacity.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, I wish there could have been a board game based off of Shadow of War, but that's still a Lord of the Rings game, and we have plenty of Lord of the Rings board games. Yeah. Right?
I haven't played Fallout yet. I haven't. I've played Doom. I can't really say whether it captures it well or not, because I've only played it once, and that was with one person controlling all the people, and I was being the game master type kind of thing.
Yeah. So I was surprised. So this is a list of games for me that there's a few of them here that can be board games but are likely never to be board games.
Yeah.
Like this, my list here, almost every game you think, well, that's a foregone conclusion. Of course they should make a board game for it, and they probably are somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much all mine feels like they could be board games.
That's true. I have one that's like, this is going to be a board game. The other four won't, ever.
Yeah.
If I have any say, they will, but...
Yeah, I would say that my...
people skip the video feed, get to the first one.
My number 2 is definitely one that I want to be a board game, and I have great reasons why, but it probably will never happen just because... Honestly, the customer base, people just don't see that as an interesting...
I think even the slightly successful video game could be a very successful board game, because you don't need a video game market. A small success can be a huge success as a board game, just because the finances are so much different. You sell 50,000 copies of a video game, you're a pretty good success. You sell 50,000 copies of a board game, you're a gigantic success.
Yeah, but see, the problem with this video game, for my number 2, is that the company's out of business, and the mechanics implemented in a board game, people would either find annoying, or they would just be like, well, why would you ever do it that way? But, anyways.
Okay, so for
number 5.
So number 5. Always picks wrong.
Yep.
So my number 5, I will say I envision that this game would be co-op. And the reason why I picked it is that the video game is batshit crazy. It's a game called Bulletstorm.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Bulletstorm was not a really successful game.
No, but it
got re-released recently, and they added a playable fourth character. But everyone who's played it loves it. But it just came out of a time, it just didn't... It was almost like Enslaved Journey to the West, which is another fantastic game that no one played. It just came out at a wrong time, didn't sell enough, didn't attract enough people. But Bulletstorm, anyone who plays Bulletstorm is just like, that's crazy, because you're constantly, it's nuts. You just, things are blowing up, people are dossing left and right, you're grabbing guys with your rep, you're flinging them into the sky, you're creating these huge point combos that you can use to buy upgrades to make you do crazier stuff. Like the idea of grabbing a guy with the lasso, pulling him towards you, and he goes into slow-mo, kicking him into an electric sign, which electrocutes him. And that's the small one. Like
Yep.
there are multiple combos.
Yeah.
And the fact that to create a co-op game where you're not just shooting at a guy, but you're actually trying to rack up combo points by pulling the guy off, rolling. Like, I'm going to roll. I hit this guy with the last hit. Okay, I'm going to roll again to pull him towards me. Successful. Okay, I'm going to try again. I'm going to try to kick him into this area. Successful. Okay, he hits this area, takes more damage, he's dead. I score these extra points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can do that competitive, like that. It's co-op, but everyone's trying to rack up points.
Yeah.
I would prefer pure co-op so you can use those points to upgrade your character and then have it be recursive and have a continuous game.
A better way of doing co-op is you nab him with the whip.
Yeah.
Toss him to somebody else, see whether or not they actually catch him or kick him.
The biggest problem with Bulletstorm, the video game, which everyone says the biggest problem with Bulletstorm, the video game, is it doesn't have a co-op.
Yes.
And literally, I would think Bulletstorm would get a lot more successful because the funny thing, you play Bulletstorm, the video game, you are accompanied by 2 other characters for the majority of the game.
Yeah.
And yet they're computer-controlled AI.
Yeah.
And I'm like, boy, did you guys miss out. This game was screaming for co-op.
Yeah.
And the board game could give that game a new life. So that's my number 5, Bulletstorm.
All right. So my number 5 will never happen.
I will kill your dicks. You'll kill my dick? What does that even mean? Kill your dick. The game has got a lot of stupid one-liners.
Yeah.
It's very much trying to tap the Snake Plissken,
Yeah.
Big Trouble Little China kind of Kurt Russell mentality. Go on, number 5.
Number 5, Final Fantasy VII. As a board game,
Is there a Final Fantasy board game at all for...
no, there isn't. There is no Final Fantasy board game.
I'll tell you what. I bet you Square is just holding on to that IP. We will never see a Final Fantasy board game.
We'll never see it.
Because Square doesn't think there's enough money.
They're so wrong. I think that it would just... Yeah. It would fly, I think.
It's weird, yeah. There are no JRPG board games.
Nope.
Not even from a Japanese studio. You think that... Yeah, there has to be legal things.
There must be.
People must have tried. And they're
Yeah.
like, Square's like, no, there's no money in it. And it could take away my sales off of ours, so no.
Yeah. Because that would just be, like, awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine. The American AAA companies are smart enough that they will create.
Yeah.
That's not 100% true because we are seeing a Horizon Zero Dawn, but that's an American company, I think, making that game.
Yeah, but there's been some issues around that.
We won't go into that one, but
You know.
that still being said, yeah, Final Fantasy, that seems like a foregone conclusion. If Square Enix licensed out and they made a Final Fantasy 7 or any Final Fantasy named board
7
game,
would be the one that would make the most.
7 would break the internet.
Yeah, because it would just... I mean, still, how many people are still, like... I remember 2 years ago, I paid money for it, for the remake, and I'm still waiting for the remake.
Did you hear the news today?
No.
Okay, so...
I'm guessing it's like 3 years away now. They pushed it back again.
Final Fantasy... Okay, Square Enix had a live stream today, by the way, so you know what date's going on. Final Fantasy had a live stream today. Sorry, Square Enix had a live stream today, where they were live streaming Final Fantasy 15, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the live stream, they announced that they've canceled all the DLC for the game. Everyone said it was like it is a bigger meltdown than what happened in Blizzard last week.
Oh yeah, no.
They ran a stream of Final Fantasy 15, and then announced that the guy who saved Final Fantasy 15, who basically recovered that project and put it out and made it what it was, quit the company in the end of October. They canceled all the DLC, and he apparently was the shepherd for Final Fantasy 7, so that's been delayed as well. And so literally, they had this big stream to announce we were shattering your dreams.
Oh my god.
It's because like why did you do a live stream to announce this?
Oh my god.
So
wow.
Good news.
Yeah, never gonna happen.
Number 4. So final. Yeah, that'll never happen.
Okay.
Which is really connected to my number 4 because my number 4 is when you're like, don't they have one? No, they don't. Borderlands. Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
you're right. They don't. No, I was trying to think. I'm just like,
You think there should?
Yeah.
There are so many games that milk the same type of teat.
yeah.
That cover that same ground, but we don't have a Borderlands board game.
No.
Why don't we? At this point in time, why don't we have a cooperative?
IP.
It must be an IP thing, which is funny too because Gearbox is an American company. They should see the writing on the wall. There should be somebody, considering...
But if you think about it, I think what video games companies have realized is that it's a lot like, let's make a good movie based on a video game. ooh, let's not do that. No, 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 no. And I think that's what you got video game companies are doing now. They're just like, yeah, I don't think
It's coming to be a point
possible.
like we're seeing board games for smaller, less public video games. Like we see like Super Hot, and we saw Binding of Isaac all become board games. And when you look at it that way, you go, yeah, it is, oddly enough, popular, but small popular.
Yeah.
Not the AAA big companies that they're not playing well, unless it's an IP that they don't really own, like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, where it's not a property that they own. We're starting to make me think that the Horizon Zero Dawn is a real outlier, because that's an intellectual property owned. That's an exclusive PlayStation game. So there had to have been some Sony loopholes that they had to get that game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Borderlands seems to be one that they should do.
Yeah.
But they don't.
I'm kind of curious. I'm pretty sure my number 4 is a legal thing too as well. And it's probably just because, yeah, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six.
A Tom Clancy game, period.
Yeah. But mostly,
I know it's kind of difficult
mostly
because-
based on Rainbow Six.
I love the fact that they still put out Tom Clancy's games. He's been dead for 10 years.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be like, I think that would be an awesome game because just based on like a whole like.
Once again, there's probably already a dozen games that you could reskin.
Yeah.
Almost.
I think there's a game out. I want to say it's called SEAL Team 6.
That's not brand new.
Isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a new. I haven't played it yet. I haven't seen.
I don't think
videos
it's
on it
even
yet.
delivered yet.
I think that may well be why I haven't seen it because I think I want to see what that one looks like because
I think, doesn't Steel Team 6 use like photos?
I don't know. But by the same token, that entire like idea of doing like a Spec Ops team. How would that not sell to American audiences?
Yeah.
They would gobble that stuff up.
Modern age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the reason why, oddly enough, spoilers, there's no Call of Duty on my list, because I didn't want to touch that. But,
Yeah.
see, that would actually do a better job.
Yeah.
Because Call of Duty is just an FPS, just a fight game.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to pick anything like Fortnite, because there's a game called Last Man Standing, there's a lot of other games which are kind of playing off of the Battle Royale format.
Yeah.
So, even though we don't have a Fortnite board game, we're kind of getting a Fortnite board game.
Yeah.
No, totally.
That's my number 4, Rainbow Six.
My number 3, I'm oddly enough, the games that people will recognize the most, we've passed. From now on, it's games that no one's heard of.
Oh yeah, no, mine are.
Which is funny, because I actually think there's a better chance you'll get a board game version of these now.
Yeah, that's true.
For the exact same reason. So my number 3 is Anomaly Defenders.
Nope, never heard of it.
I know you haven't. So, okay. Anomaly Defenders is done by the same people who did This War of Mine. The video game.
Probably why I haven't heard of it.
This is what got them on the map for me. Remember, I've criticized This War of Mine, you've criticized This War of Mine, but the video game is truly brilliant.
Yes.
The video game is brilliant, and Anomaly Defenders is truly brilliant, and they have another game called Frostpunk, which I'm eagerly trying to get my hands on. I haven't had the time to play it, but I want to get it because it's some of the same people, and I think they have a pretty solid, rock solid ship going on there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know they're Polish,
Yeah.
because that's how they linked up with Awakened Realms, which is also Polish, which is the reason why they did This War of Mine.
Yeah.
So they do a game called Anomaly Defenders. Now, they have almost every genre of video game has transferred over. So we've had the Battle Royale, we've had the MOBA, we've had the MMO style game, we've had all of these transfer over.
Yep.
And now the other one we've had is Tower Defense. We've had Tower Defense games, numerous Tower Defense games. Anomaly Defender is a reverse Tower Defense, where you're playing as the pawns moving through enemy bases. Mm-hmm. Right?
So yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you get control over the direction you get to go, but you have to find a way to move that'll either maximize your firing angle so you can destroy the towers as you get past them, or avoid them altogether. And sometimes there's a time limit. Anomaly Defenders 1 and 2 have the fact that they have a story at all is actually interesting. But it is a reverse tower defense when you're playing the peons. In this case, you're a military caravan going through this alien invaded apocalyptic hellscape, right?
Yeah.
And the aliens are the towers. And I think that is a board game waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Lay down randomized city tiles, move around, try to avoid, get into a good angle. You can throw down status effects, players can either play the captains, which are actually these characters that move around the map, which are not the convoy, or play as vehicles in the convoy itself. But personally, I would prefer the guys that are moving around doing operations and so forth. And the whole goal is get that convoy to the other side of the map. If they all get blown up, you lose. Simple as that.
Yep.
Have scenarios, which is what the level has. It's just, it's a game waiting to happen, and it doesn't seem that hard.
No. Yeah, well, that's kind of like what my number 2 is. It doesn't seem like it would be that hard. Oh, sorry, that's right. Number
Yeah,
two.
we was like, no, I
Well,
have
we'll get to my number 2 then. Yeah, I'll skip what I was saying. So, number 3.
Ignore me!
Ignore. Metal Gear Solid. Now, I'm talking about the Metal Gear Solid that came out on PSX.
The original Metal Gear Solid set in the snow in Alaska.
Yes, correct. That one.
I'm old.
Yep. But that one I think would make an awesome board game. It probably wouldn't do too well multiplayer, so it would be kind of a solo board game, but I think it would still be good.
Well, I guess it's a 1 versus 1, or maybe it's
Oh yeah, I guess you could do 1v1.
or 1v all, because you can have a
Them being the bad guys. Yeah.
yeah. It's like the One Ring game, like the Lord of the Rings game, where one player is Frodo and everyone else is trying to find him.
Yep, exactly.
Exactly the same thing, but Snake Plissken.
Yep.
Sorry,
Yeah, that'll
Solid
work.
Snake.
Solid Snake. Yeah. All right. So that was my number 3. Number 2.
My number 2, funnily enough, if I play my cards right, might actually become a board game, because I actually know somebody who's in the talks with the company to make a board game version of this.
Okay.
It's called Tharsis.
Oh, that one. The space one with the yeah.
Tharsis is quite literally a digital board game.
Yep.
That has
Literally.
that the designers didn't know how to make a board game. But
Yep.
they knew how to make a video game, so they made a video game of a board game that has no, like, you look at it as going, oh, is this a digital version of a board game? No, there is no physical board game of Tharsis.
Yeah.
And you think there really should.
Yeah.
Because you're rolling dice. It's a die placing.
You actually see actual dice.
Yeah, it's an actual die placing cooperative game.
Yep. And it's really hard to win.
They made it easier with an update.
Oh, darn.
No, you can still play the normal difficulty.
Oh, okay.
There was a standard and a hard. They added an easy, made medium slightly easier, but hard is still hard. And they have scenarios as well. But yeah, the only thing you have to modify, you can't have player elimination. Take out player elimination and the game still stands.
Yeah, I think that would be an excellent one.
Yeah, oddly enough, I mentioned it to another game publisher, and he was just like, holy crap, yes. I swear to God, this is true. He contacted them, and they're like, we wanted to make this as a board game. We don't know how. And he's like, well, I know how. And they're like, take it. Give us some money for it. So with luck, this is our little tease, guys. With luck, that might actually happen.
That would be
I
cool.
won't tell you who it is or how far it's along. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm involved. I don't think I'm going to get involved in that project. It'd be nice. It's not mandatory. I gave it to the guy as kind of a peace offering. Because it's like, I can't do it alone. If you want me to help you, I'll help you. But he's like, oh yeah, this is solid cash.
Yeah.
It's not a popular. It only has mixed reviews, and it only has mixed reviews because if you look at it as a video game, it's okay. You look at it as a board game, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
So that's my number 2 pick, Tharsis.
All right. So my number 2 is the one that I said I know how to implement it, and it would be a good board game. I just don't think people would enjoy it as much as I would, unfortunately. But maybe I'm wrong. And that's SWAT 4. Now the reason it's
But isn't that just a variation of Rainbow Six? Then?
No, because
I know it's not exactly the same game, but
and the difference with SWAT 4 is that a lot of times what you were trying to do was take down the bad guys less than lethal. So you had your beanbag shotguns, you had your tear gas, and you actually got better points and better your career went better. Less people you killed and the more people you subdued and then just cuffed them. Which you still had the ability to pull out your lethal weapons. But you still have...
Oddly enough, everyone wants to play criminals nowadays, which is the reason why Grand Theft Auto is so damn popular.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
No one wants to play law enforcement or good people anymore. They always want to play criminals, which is the reason why that... We'd probably see a board game of Payback 2 before we saw a game of Stuff.
Yes, we probably will.
I should have put Payback on my list, but I didn't because I don't like that game.
Yeah, I have it. The only reason I have it is because I have it for VR, so I'm...
Someone gave it to me.
Yeah.
And then he tried to show me how to play it. but in the process of playing him, he leveled me up to like level 60. But I didn't understand or have any concept of what I was doing. Go over here and do this. Why? Just go here and press this button. Okay. And then I did that for like 2 hours. I was like, what am I doing? I don't know how to play this game.
But yeah, so that's my thing. Because I mean, think about it. It's just like, okay, so you go to so the guy's holding somebody hostage, going to shoot them. So do you deploy your actual gun, your beanbag shotgun, or do you use tear gas? It's like, okay, well, so you deploy tear gas, which has a lot lower chance of being successful at subduing the guy. So you roll some. So maybe you want to use Arkham rules. So you roll and only it succeeds on 6s. Whereas if you use the beanbag shotgun, and 3 through 6 will be a successful subdue, and then you can go cuff. Like there's so many ways you could implement it that it would be so awesome, because there's so many times where it could go wrong, and that is completely the way it is in real life. It's like you could use the beanbag shotgun, and it could just be some roided out weirdo, and it'll be ineffective, and he shoots the person. Oh well, guess maybe you should have thought about shooting him instead. But you don't know. And that I think it captures its themes so well,
right?
Lending that randomness to it with the die roll, because that's really what it was. Every time you went into those situations, it always was a randomness. It's like, okay, so we're all going with beanbag shotguns, or is somebody going to have the taser gun, or like what's the story? Like, how are we going to do this? I remember many nights playing that game, and yeah, it was just always a good game. But Sierra.
What can you say?
Yep.
It's like war. What is it good for? Sierra. End of sentence.
Yeah.
That's ironic, considering my number 1 is related to Sierra.
All right. All right, take it away.
The claw.
The claw.
I think we had a conversation. I think you don't like one of these games. Mine's a tie. I broke the rules because they're the same name with different games, but it's the same IP. That's Homeworld.
Oh, you're gonna say Desert of Karak.
That's half the game. You have the space version of Homeworld, which is a resource shipbuilding, which is basically you have a mothership, the other guy has a mothership, and then you use resources to buy ships and upgrade ships. I prefer the Deserts of Karak because you have physical deformations of a landscape. You can have storms. You can have fallen wrecks you have to then grab and acquire. That's why the PvP community in Homeworld is rather lethargic, and it's not very interesting to look at. You might have never seen PvP Deserts of Karak. It's a very small but very fanatical community. One guy named Dreamlands, free plug, does a whole bunch of competitive streaming, which the people who made Deserts of Karak constantly promote him because he's the guy who does it. And crazy good players. And it is nuts and incredibly entertaining seeing these guys hammer each other, because it's right up there with things StarCraft. You know, like the top StarCraft players going at it, because you see crazy combos, amazing things, but you just see people firing off nuclear weapons in sequence, and then people moving out of the way, and then it's just a clusterfuck. And it's so enjoyable. There's so much more dynamic interactivity within Deserts of Karak. So officially mine is Deserts of Karak, but if someone said we're going to do a Homeworld game, I'm like, okay, if you're smart, you'll do Deserts of Karak. I could do Deserts of Karak. I would love to do a variation that's cooperative and a competitive version. Competitive version would make money, but I would love a cooperative version where you're all controlling one vehicle, and then you're doing missions from there. So you're actively playing one vehicle when you leave, but when that vehicle gets destroyed, you can launch another vehicle. But I know a lot of people are just like, no, we want competitive. We want each one to have a big freaking epic carrier, and then spend 6 hours fighting, banging each other in the head until we win. But that's my number 1 pick. Homeworld, technically Deserts of Karak.
Okay. My number 1, XCOM 2. It doesn't have a board game. And it is
come
different.
on. That's hard. That's a technicality.
No, because it's different. Because the actual gameplay behind XCOM 2...
We just talked about this.
No, because the gameplay behind XCOM 2 is different than game for XCOM, because in XCOM 2, your base is mobile.
Yeah.
And so that would change, again, the elements of the game. So it is different, and it's a much better game also than the original XCOM.
Yeah, I will XCOM. I mean, there are elements about XCOM 1 I like.
Yep.
But XCOM 2 is a better game.
It is. It's a way better game. And I have logged so many hours on XCOM 2. Yeah, especially with mods. But anyways, that's my number one is just XCOM 2. I really hope they make a board game out of it, and I really hope they do it the right way this time. But based on the lackluster reception that XCOM got, I don't think we'll see it.
Well, we'll talk about that when we talk about app integration. But okay, I can't see. I don't know. I feel like you played a loophole there. I'm surprised this War of Mine isn't on the list. I thought this War of Mine would be on there.
No.
Probably because you just don't like the idea. Like, the game itself is, of all the games to make board games out of, at no point someone said, well, no one's made a board game out of a video game, and someone tells me, oh, we should pick 5 board games to be made out of video games. Pick one. At no point is this War of Mine ever going to be on that list.
No.
That's the last game I would have gone.
Yeah.
There are side-scrolling shooters I would have tossed into that mix before I would have put this War of Mine. I think that occurs purely out of Polish loyalty.
Yeah.
The only reason it happens is probably Awakened Realms and 11-Bit Studios are probably down the street from each other. That's the only reason I think those happen.
Possibly, yeah.
Someone's going to email me who's like, they're not in the same town, you idiot. They're not even Polish. Like, one's Ukrainian or something. But last time I thought, like, 11-Bit Studios and Awakened Realms are both Polish, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, I have been Chris.
I've been Dave. And remember, you don't have to play the way the rules say. You just have to play it the way you want to play it.
Should I have it like as a cue card?
There should be a cue card, yes.
The rules are just a suggestion. Play the game the way you want.
That's right. That's what it is.
You made up.
The rules are just
Okay, no, too late. It's gone. Never mind. Forget it. It's over.